In this video, we're going to talk about HUAWEI P60 Pro camera test. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel TechVerse for the future updates. The HUAWEI P60 Pro takes the top spot in the DxOMark camera ranking thanks to class-leading still image quality with the primary camera and at most zoom settings. In video, the HUAWEI showed some noticeable improvements over its predecessors in terms of stabilization, color and texture rendering, coming very close to the performances of the Oppo Find X6 Pro and the Apple iPhone 14 Pro. The HUAWEI's outstanding results were based on innovative imaging hardware and software alike. The P60 Pro isn't the first smartphone to feature a variable aperture, but it is one of very few devices that offer an aperture range from f/1.4 to f/4 for such a large sensor. The previously released HUAWEI Mate 50 Pro also provides variable aperture, but on a slightly smaller sensor, 1/56". The aperture is adjusted automatically based on light conditions and content of the scene. For example, in low light, images are captured wide open. When shooting a group portrait, it stops down to increase depth of field and ensure good sharpness on all subjects. In our tests, this helped with both the exposure and focus results. Results for all other still image quality attributes were very good as well, with accurate and pleasant colors in most conditions, fast and accurate autofocus, and a well-tuned texture/noise trade-off. The P60 Pro's telecamera does not feature the largest image sensor in the ultra-premium segment, but thanks to the fast f/2.1 aperture, the camera is still capable of collecting more light than some of its rivals with bigger sensors. Texture at telezoom is optimized by using comprehensive image fusion solutions that combine image information captured by the primary and tel cameras. These fusion algorithms kick in across a large variety of use cases and light conditions. The P60 Pro's video mode comes with some key improvements over previous models, and with HUAWEI getting close to perfecting its in-house video HDR solution, HDR Vivid. The brand's latest flagship is now the firm No 3 for smartphone video, behind the Apple iPhone 14 Pro and Oppo's Find X6 Pro. In our tests, footage recorded with the P60 Pro showed good exposure and a wide dynamic range in all conditions. Colors were nice too, and the stabilization system did an effective job at counteracting camera shake. Texture, noise, and the autofocus were all decent as well, but left some more room for improvement than the other video quality attributes. The HUAWEI is also an excellent option for shooting close-up images thanks to macro mode being available with both the ultra-wide and tel camera, a feature that was also available on the Mate 50 Pro Plus. The benefit of having two camera modules with macro capabilities is that it allows for macro shoots at various shooting distances. It also allows the photographer to keep a distance to the subject, which is important when capturing live subjects. In our tests on the P60 Pro, the macro capabilities of the tel camera provided DSLR-like depth of field. Portrait mode performance was in line with the best in class, providing natural rendering with accurate subject isolation and a nice blur gradient. Please note that DxOMark only tests one mode, the best one, so these additional capabilities do not affect the close-up score. The HUAWEI P60 Pro was tested in eye-off mode. The HUAWEI P60 Pro was tested in its default mode with the AI off. Performance in the friends and family use case was excellent, thanks to the best exposure trade-off in challenging portrait scenes that we have seen to date. The HUAWEI's ability to preserve contrast on faces while providing accurate exposure and protecting highlights in difficult backlit scenes is unmatched. The camera also managed to render accurate skin tones for most skin types and in most conditions in both photo and video. In addition, it excelled at freezing motion and capturing sharp subjects even in dynamic scenes, especially for low-light conditions, for indoor and outdoor conditions. In this regard, the P60 Pro is on par with the other top players such as the Oppo Find X6 Pro and Apple iPhone 14 Pro. Bokeh mode delivered great results, too, with images that were pretty close to what you would expect from a DSLR and fast lens. The P60 Pro is the new No. 1 in the low-light use case. Exposure was good, even in very low light, thanks to the ability to open the aperture up to f/1.4 in dim conditions. Colors were natural, even in night shots, and the camera managed to capture fairly high levels of detail while keeping noise under control, especially in photo mode. One of the P60 Pro's main advantages in low light was the ability to freeze motion and keep motion blur to a minimum. When using the telezoom in low light, the camera still recorded good detail, thanks to effective image fusion algorithms being used down to a light level of 5 lux. Even at long tail, around 200 mm equivalent. The P60 Pro delivered better detail than its main rivals in the telezoom category. Low-light video clips were competitive as well, with good exposure and fairly accurate white balance overall. Stabilization and autofocus remained effective in low light. Camera evaluations take place in laboratories and in real-world situations using a wide variety of subjects. The scores rely on objective tests for which the results are calculated directly by measurement software on our laboratory setups, and on perceptual tests in which a sophisticated set of metrics allow a panel of image experts to compare aspects of image quality that require human judgment. Testing a smartphone involves a team of engineers and technicians for about a week. Photo, zoom, and video quality are scored separately and then combined into an overall score for comparison among the cameras in different devices. For more information about the DxOMARK camera protocol, click here. More details on smartphone camera scores are available here. The following section gathers key elements of DxOMARK's exhaustive tests and analyses. Full performance evaluations are available upon request. Please contact us on how to receive a full report. The HUAWEI P60 Pro is the best device in our photo ranking to date, making it an ideal option for all types of still imaging. Results in autofocus and exposure were outstanding, in addition to consistently good performances across all other test categories. In our tests, the camera was capable of using zero shutter lag, and therefore capturing the image instantly at shutter press in all light conditions. Thanks to its variable aperture, which remains a very rare feature on smartphone cameras, and a well-thought-out auto aperture control that is based on scene content, it also offered the widest depth of field of all current flagship devices. Exposure performance was outstanding thanks to a combination of good exposure of the scene with a wide dynamic range and good contrast, even in the most challenging light conditions, such as high contrast and backlit scenes. In such tough conditions, the difference to the competition was noticeable, with comparison devices having to make compromises in terms of exposure, dynamic range, or contrast. In very challenging high contrast conditions, the HUAWEI P60 Pro occasionally opted for a slightly darker subject exposure than the competitors in order to preserve better contrast. In these situations, target exposure remained acceptable, though, and the camera delivered an excellent trade-off between exposure, dynamic range, and contrast. The camera captured nice colors, thanks to a generally neutral white balance and accurate color rendering, even in challenging and unusual lighting conditions. In the example below, the P60 Pro maintained the green cast, which corresponded to the real light used. Image noise in images was well under control and barely noticeable. Some luminance and low-frequency, chromatic noise could appear in the shadows and areas of plain color in low-light scenes, but noise was well controlled on textured areas and on subjects, minimizing its intrusiveness. P60 Pro images were generally free of unwanted image artifacts. However, in some scenes, image quality could be slightly affected by flare. In challenging scenes, we also observed some fusion and face rendering artifacts. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.